It is time for our visit from the doctor, our home visit with Dr. Michael Ulich on call, who's in here with us this morning to talk more about health-related matters. Doc, good morning to you.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Glad to have you
appreciate
here.
it.
You should be happy, an upstate New Yorker with this chilly weather. You feel more at home now? Or
A little, but I did move down here to get away from that.
Followed you this time.
Yeah, those long winters. But yeah, I just talked to my parents, and they live a little north of New York City, and they got about 4 or 5 inches.
Whoa.
And then my aunt, who lives up near the Adirondacks, way up north, she got 14 inches of snow 2 days ago. So,
wow.
Yeah. Where she lives, it snows around Halloween and doesn't melt until about April.
Wow.
But anyway, so what's going on around town with the medical field nowadays? Well, just to remind everyone that's tuning in for the first time, we're just discussing medical concerns of the community and trends in medicine and focusing on preventative medicine when it pertains to children, but also just general medical questions. This week I wanted to talk about a couple things. It's been actually a hot topic probably the last 15 to 20 years is childhood obesity and also trends in insurance, especially with children, that's coming up actually at the end of January of 2018, where there'll be some changes possibly if Congress doesn't get funding for certain programs for children's health care. Okay. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Big thing, and I had mentioned this a few years ago about childhood obesity. It's one of the biggest epidemic problems that's going to our children and our future generations that we're going to see over the next 20 to 40 years, really. If you think about it, when you're watching your child's basketball game and there's 5 kids on each team, 2 out of 4 of those children are considered are overweight or obese. So it's almost 20 to 40%. And when you get into the obese category, what that puts your child in is early onset of adult diseases,
right?
Hypertension, diabetes, orthopedic problems. So what's been in this trend over the last 25 years, really last 15 to 20 years, is you say, well, is it our kids' diet? Is it exercise? It's a combination of both. It really is.
Too much of one, not enough of the other.
Exactly. Fast food and people eating out is also another big issue. But, in general, when I talk to my patients, it's usually exercise. It's usually if you have a pretty good metabolism, children usually should be able to eat what they want. But if they're not exercising, they're not burning off those extra calories. And then what happens is when they get a little older, 15, 16, 17, they're maybe out of sports or they're out of high school and they're already a little overweight. And then those early pounds of usually that men and women get in their 30s and 40s, they're getting at 20, 21, 22, 25 years of age. So the real thing been pushing over the last 10 years is how to prevent this, how to curtail this before it becomes an epidemic. And there's been some guidelines given out by the CDC and the AAP, and what they're trying to say is they're trying to say obesity is really a family problem. You say, all right, well, you got to eat your vegetables and exercise, to your 10-year-old son. But if they don't see their 40-year-old or 35-year-old mother or father doing it, well, they're not gonna.
And sometimes they're not being fed fruits and vegetables because, mom and dad both working and they're running and gunning and kids are in this and in that. So guess what? We'll go through the drive-through.
That's true.
And it becomes very easy to do.
So they come up with this plan a few years ago. It's called the 5210 plan. And it's if you can obtain some of it, you're probably being okay. But that's exactly what we're talking about. They're saying 5 fruits and vegetables a day. I mean, that is very hard for any parent, especially both parents working. And what the economy is, fresh vegetables and fruits are expensive.
Especially with this emphasis on local, organic. You go to a farmer's market, you're going to pay premium.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, but it's not cheap.
You're absolutely right. So that's one thing they try to push. They say screen time. That's, on the iPhone, on the computer, on your Sony PlayStation, any of those. They really say you should limit it unrelated to school time, school. If you're on there obviously learning for school, that's different. But really, 2 hours a day, which still seems a lot to me. But they say no more than 2 hours a day. The average actually is 4 to 6 hours for a 10 to 14-year-old that they're on the computer or on some kind of screen, but not for an educational purposes, right. for watching a movie or a show or getting online. And then the other one is and this is another tough one when both parents are exercising, is they say 1 hour a day of mild to moderate exercise, and then 2 hours a week for vigorous exercise. Now, I mean, you get home from school, and then the problem is what happens in gym class now. A lot of schools don't have gym.
I think when I was going, you had to have a physical education class every year. I think nowadays, 1 hour for the whole 4 years in high school is all that's required.
Right.
To graduate.
Right. So we're not putting our emphasis, and that's from budget restraints. If our children are not, if they're struggling in English and math and science, what's going to suffer? Arts and physical education. But there needs to be a balance in life, and that's the key. If you can teach your children balance in life with education, exercise at a younger age, when they get to my age in their 40s and 50s and they have children and a job, they will incorporate that into their lives and will not be an overweight, obese 45-year-old. So it's really hard, and so they try to make exercise a family thing. Say, all right, we're going to go to the movies or we're going to sit at home. Well, let's go down to the track and walk for a half hour. And either listen to music or talk as you're walking. It doesn't have to be running. You don't have to be running marathons. Right. It's getting your heart rate up, and called cardiovascular exercise, where you're burning calories.
Throw a frisbee or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. You got parents have a tough with both parents usually working now. And so it is really hard, but even on the weekends, make time, an hour or two on a Saturday or Sunday to go out and exercise, and you're really showing your children, some good values for the rest of their life. The one thing that I really focus on in my practice is cutting down on those extra calories. And that is the sugary drinks.
You bring that up this time of year, too.
yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a tough time of year for anyone.
All right.
But what I see in my practice, and a lot of pediatricians see, is children are just drinking too many sugary drinks. And a sugary drink is anything that has sugar in it that's not pretty much water. And people say, well, I'm letting my child drink the low sugar apple juice. It's still got sugar in it. And actually, they came out with recommendations last year to say that anyone under a year of age, actually no juice at all, water. Okay?
I got that information from my daughter when my granddaughters came over. I was buying all this juice thinking I'm going to do something healthy. Nope. Not drinking it.
That's right. So now they say, now there's a couple of reasons for juice, but that's if they're constipated. So, but they say no juice under a year of age. Now, 1 to 3 years of age, actually only 4 ounces of juice a day. And then 3 to 6 years of age and up is about 8 ounces of juice a day. Everything else really should be water, 1 or 2 cups of milk, and that's it. Even too much milk is actually no good for children. It can constipate them and actually cause them to have anemia, and also actually decrease their appetite.
What about this stuff called almond milk, soy milk, which really isn't milk, but it
does have calcium, and usually they're fortified with vitamin D in it, so that's fine. If they have a milk allergy or they get constipated from milk, those are perfectly. Now, okay. Years ago they said no, it has to be whole milk, but because we have such a high fat content in our diet now, it really doesn't matter as far as what kind of, they used to say, oh, cow's whole milk is what a 1 or 2 year old needs, and that's actually gone by the wayside. And we just say, hey, give them some type of milk. If it's soy, 2%, 1% skim milk, and they'll get the fat from other things. So so that's kind of what we've been focusing on. And how do you know your child's obese? Obviously, you say, well, they look heavy. Are they overweight? It's really, you come into the doctor's office once a year, and we'll do, you take your weight and your height and you call it your body mass index, and that gives you a little general idea of where they fall on the scale. And if they fall a certain percentage, then that increases and puts them at that risk of either overweight, obese, or severely obese. If you're in the obese and severely obese category, those are those children that are going to wind up, if they don't lose weight, they will, get those early onset adult diseases, I call, in their teenage years or early 20s.
BMI is shocking too, because I thought I was pretty good shape, and they did mine, and I was actually about 2 digits above
your ideal body weight.
Yeah, I was about 5 or 6 pounds over where I should
have been, and that's pretty good.
I'm feeling kind of bad about that. I went home and ran, didn't eat for 3 days.
And certain times you look at a patient, and you say, all right, these scales are made up, and you say, all right, well, call them big bone families. You say, all right, are you going to get down to that ideal body weight? Probably not. But the rate you're going, it's going to be that this patient is having, they're going to be 100 pounds overweight by the time they're 16, 17 years of age. And you see it in my practice where teenagers will come in and they're overweight, and they're having already knee and back problems.
Yeah.
They're having trouble tying their shoes, and
Wow.
they're so overweight that they sound like someone that's been smoking for 40, because they're having a hard time breathing, because all that fat and that extra, the neck muscle and fat actually causes obstructive sleep apnea, where now they won't be able to sleep that well, and actually puts early onset heart disease that this person might need, heart failure or congestive heart failure when they're 30 years of age.
He's going to be 18 years old on a CPAP machine.
Exactly. I mean, we have it. We have
Wow.
it. And it's and then it just kind of it spirals down the hill, because now is this, why are they overeating? Are they not exercising? Now they eat because they feel bad, because maybe they have some anxiety about their weight, so they eat some more. And then that leads to drinking and smoking, and later, early onset, substance abuse. So it's a problem. And then the adults, 30, 40, and 50 years old, you say, well, why should I? Maybe your children are grown, and you say, well, why should I worry about it? Well, the children that are now, when we're old in our 70s and 80s, they're going to be running the country, and if they're not productive because they're not healthy, everyone's going to suffer.
And you think the insurance situation is tough now? You get that large of amount of a population generation that's sick and dying.
Right.
Wow. It's going to really put a crunch.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a bummer to think about.
Yeah, I know, around the holidays, but it's okay to spoil yourself around the holidays, but really come up with a plan. So when we come in, you come in, you get your body mass index, you'll get your blood pressure taken, and then we'll usually say, all right, you're a little overweight, and now come up with a plan how to either lose weight, or, depending on the age, let's slow down your weight velocity, so you, what I call, grow into your weight.
Okay.
Before you become go to adolescence and really put on some weight and some height, is between about 2 to about 10 to 11 years of age, depending girl or boy, you want to put on about 5 to 10 pounds a year. Okay. It's not, if you think about it, it's not that much, right? You think, oh, these kids are growing. But what you'll see is these 6 and 7 year olds that are putting on 15, 20, 25 pounds a year. So now they get to those teenage years, and they're going to go to adolescence and start growing and putting on more weight. Well, they're already obese to begin with. So now they go through the 13, 14 years of age, and now they put on 40 or 50 pounds from, say, 14 to 16. They're just continuing that trend of being obese. And so when parents come in and they say, it was my 3 or 4 year old, overweight, and they're above what they call the 95th percentile on their BMI. I said, I don't want you to lose weight. We just got to slow down, and you just can't give the high calorie foods and really the high calorie juices. Mm-hmm. And if you can cut down on that, that goes a long way in those younger kids.
You're on call with Dr. Michael Ulich. If you want to call up, you're welcome to call. Our topic right now, we're talking about childhood obesity and overall health. 377-1244 is the live line. If you would like to ask the doc a question, we're here. Even if it's not related to what we're talking about right now, he'll be glad to help you out here on the live line, 377-1244. Okay, you talk about all these things we need to do. Here comes the practicality part. How do we implement those changes in our lives to achieve that goal?
Exactly. Right. Yeah, and that's obviously the hardest part of this. Has to come from the family. It has to be a family plan. Even if you have one child that's overweight and the rest of the family is not, it has to be implemented through the whole family. Depending on the age, usually more the adolescents, is get a scale. Mm-hmm. Get a scale and have your child on the scale every day or once a week. And so when they see the numbers, they say, all right. And if they're losing weight or maintaining their weight, it's a positive reinforcement. Because and I know, you don't get on the scale for a little while. I only weigh this much. And you get on there and go, oh my gosh, I weigh 10, 15 pounds more than I do. But if you have the whole family get on there and make it a game at the end of the week, if you stayed the same weight or you did good or you exercised a little more, make a reward for the child, if it's a special present or whatever. It's like anything else. Why do we do things in life, right? We got to pay the bills, right? We want to be happy, and we know hard work leads to that. And it's not just, okay, here's a diet pill, here's this, here's that, and if you make that with that child to say, and if you say, hey, minding your mom and dad and doing as best you can in school and your health, those are the three most important things in their life. Most people, minding your mom and dad, they're doing the best they can, doing as best they can in school. They forget that third one. And it's just as important, really, for long-term health to have that.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And everything else will be. Meal times, that's the big deal. Most of us, breakfast time, well, there you go. There's a problem right there. A lot of folks don't even bother having a breakfast.
That's right. So what happens is your cortisol, which can kind of it's a hormone that regulates the stress in your body. And when you don't eat in the morning, what happens is your cortisol is low. And it says, oh, you haven't eaten. So the cortisol level goes up. So by the time lunchtime, or if you don't even eat a big lunch, dinner time comes, you're really, really hungry. So you may have not eaten all day long. And so you say, all right, well, I'm just going to eat a big dinner.
Yeah.
But now you're eating at that dinner 3,000 or 4,000 calories. And if you're eating 3,000 or 4,000 calories at dinner, that would be okay if you're exercising or you're burning.
The odds are you're not going to go run after you eat a big supper.
Exactly. So it's the old saying, and doctors and the medical field has been saying it for years, to eat a good breakfast. And it really is the most important meal of the day.
What is a good breakfast? Because there's a wide variety. Now, we said fruits and vegetables. Here's a great opportunity to get some of those servings of fruits in for sure.
But you want what they call a long-acting or a long-lasting carbohydrate, which is like an oatmeal.
Yeah.
Grits. Mm-hmm. Eggs are fine. Even a little piece of toast. Obviously cholesterol. And children not worried as much as cholesterol unless they're overweight already. But something that if you're going to put a little extra butter on there to make it appetizing, so they'll eat their oatmeal or grits. That's a start.
Yeah.
Those sugary cereals. What those do is they spike your sugar up really high. So that means your cortisol will go up and bring it down. So you'll get a big lull, and then you want to eat more at lunch and in the afternoon. So a low sugar. Or moderate sugar breakfast is going to be best.
And I found out in reading labels, even the cereals that aren't sugary have sugar in them. So you got to watch.
And I grew up on Cheerios.
Yeah,
and my mom
that's healthy. Yeah.
But just the regular plain Cheerios actually has some sugar in it. Yeah. Not much, but it's there.
Lunchtime. Now that's the time of day. A lot of folks don't have as much control over when, what, or how they eat, especially if you're at school. But they're working to try to provide as much of a nutritious yet attractive meal for students. folks that are working, unless you bring your lunch with you, you're probably going to go somewhere out to eat, and odds are it's not going to be a very healthy selection.
No. I mean, these fast meals are usually prepared quick, and a lot of them are processed foods already. Like anything else, you try to stay away from the fried foods. If you can get a salad with a grilled chicken, even a salad, that people say, well, I got to cut carbohydrates out, because that's what puts on the weight. Moderation, it's like anything else, So salads are usually good for children. Usually a grilled meat, or even a hamburger. Staying away from the fried foods are another one that and it's really hard. The French fries.
Well, nowadays, see, all this stuff is more baked. They'll have fries, but they're baked, so they're not.
They're not as bad, the cholesterol wise, but the calories are still there.
Yeah.
A baked fry or potatoes are better than fried potatoes,
Right.
but the calories are still there. And if you eat more of them, you're compensating for. So
Hopefully they'll have PE after lunch then, is that just, or take the stairs at school. And then of course the evening meal, there's where there's maybe some more control. That's really where the family dynamic has to really come
really
into play.
Portion control is huge. If you have, depending on your child's weight, or if you're is make the one plate, and you allow for a little bit of extras, and that's it. And then what we always say is at your meals, and that will cut down on the sugary drinks, is water, and then really no eating 2 hours before sleep, before you go to bed. And it should be, again, a piece of fruit, something not chips,
Snacking,
candy, snacky, things like that.
And we are going to snack, especially if kid comes home from school and there's a few hours before supper. They're going to have a snack.
Oh, sure.
Just make it something a little more healthier than
right.
big candy
and
bar
that's the
or
whole thing.
3 honey
Candy
buns.
bar, and again, that gets your sugar spike up, and then it starts to drop down, which means at dinner time you'll eat a lot more. So, got a call?
We got a call. Let's hang on here. We'll get right to it. All right. Good morning. You're on the air with Dr. Michael Ulich. What's your question this morning?
Good morning. I was calling to find out if the doctor would know what would take your taste and smell away. This has been going on for 8 months, and I was wondering if the doctor knew what would cause that.
Okay.
Okay.
Would medication cause that?
Sure. Depends on how old is the patient. Are you talking about yourself, ma'am?
Myself,
And how old are you?
62.
62. A couple things. If you have some underlying diabetes, that can start. Are you a smoker?
Yes.
Yes. Smoking is one of the biggest causes, especially as you get older and you've been smoking for a bunch of years. That can definitely actually take your taste away. Again, if you quit smoking, actually those they call hair cells in your nose, they will actually come back within 3 to 5 years after you quit smoking. Other things that can cause it, if it's more acute onset, if you have bad reflux at night, that acid can come up and actually damage those nerve cells in your nose and in your mouth, and actually decrease your taste.
Yes, sir.
So, it's like anything else. The smoking is probably what's causing it. Sometimes reflux can do it. The other thing more serious, if it's more of acute onset also, is sometimes you can have a tumor in your pituitary gland, and that can press on those nerves there and cause you. So that might be one reason to get into your doctor.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Thank you for calling. Is that why, we're getting kind of close on time, is that why a lot of people, when they quit smoking, they have the urge, they kind of put on weight because they're getting their taste and sense of smell back? And,
a combination that
and
smoking does, and a lot of people do smoke, especially that's why women are smoking more. It decreases their appetite. But yes, you're absolutely right. They can now taste things that they never have for since they started smoking 25 years ago.
So if you're trying to lose weight, don't take up smoking. There's other ways.
No.
All right, but of course now it is the holiday time, and we got and Christmas is on a Monday, which means there's going to be Christmas stuff going on for 4 or 5 days over a stretch. So maybe this is the time to plan your action, and after the first of the year, New Year resolution, and let's hit it.
What I would do is weigh yourself now, and weigh yourself. If you're going to get on this plan of weighing yourself weekly or daily, get on that so you can have a baseline. So okay. I put on 10 pounds over the holidays. I'm going to take it off and have a plan. Have a plan every month, depending on how overweight you are, and make it realistic. You say, all right, I'm 70 pounds overweight, and I'm going to lose 70 pounds in a year. Probably not going to happen unless that's all you're doing in life. But is a 5 pound weight loss a month reasonable? Yeah, I mean, and if you think about it, at the end of the year, that's almost 60 pounds. And that's where that consistency of getting on the scale and watching your weight every day. And if you have a bad week that week, you say, all right, I put on a pound. What did I do bad that week? Okay, well, I went out to the movies and I did this. Let me change it around. And that's really the key is getting on the scale and watching your weight on a daily and weekly basis.
All right. Childhood obesity, our topic this morning here with Dr. Michael Ulich. Just heard this morning, Louisiana overall health, we're 49th in the nation. So at least we're not last.
We're not last.
You touched earlier before our show when we started about the insurance issues, and I don't know how much information you have on that, but you did say there could be
we got off on that topic. I just wanted to,
we got about 3-4 minutes left, so maybe you can let us know
briefly what's happening is, and you've probably seen it in the papers, but we'll just kind of summarize. Congress has not put the budget out for something called CHIP, which was Children Health Initiative Program. It actually started in 1996, 97. And that was for children that kind of were in the middle. They weren't poor enough to be on Medicaid, but their parents didn't make enough to be on regular insurance. So as of if they don't pass that budget as of end of January, immediately you'll be affected is 6,300 children in the state of Louisiana. Overall in Louisiana, there's 120,000 children on CHIP. Some of those patients will go over to regular Medicaid. Others will be caught in the middle somewhere. So looking at it over the next, if it doesn't get passed, what'll happen is, I know Governor Edwards is trying to figure out a plan if Congress doesn't approve it. But if it doesn't, the state's going to be on the budget for an extra $126 million to try to cover.
Wow, we're already $1 billion.
$1 billion,
yeah,
I saw that. So talk to your congressman. It's real important. And what happens is, where are these children going to get health care? What's going to happen? You're going to overload the system again, and they're going to go to LSU, the federal clinics there, state and federal clinic there. They're going to go to the emergency rooms. These children are still going to need health care. And again, the preventive part of it. These children will not be getting vaccines. These children will not. We're talking about obesity and asthma and things that can be prevented and be going to the emergency room that they're not going to have. Now, the financial part of it, I'm not up there, but what do you do?
Well, the money will come from somewhere.
Yeah.
It'd be those that are paying those premiums or whatever health care plan they have. They're probably going to go up.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah. And so, but then you get to the point now you're having people that can't afford their premiums anymore, so they'll be dropping out of the system, and so it's a big problem. It's when it's children, and we're not funding children, I think obviously it's a big problem.
It's almost overwhelming to think about.
But
if we practice, as you mentioned, these health issues that you started with exercise and being active and eating the right kinds of things at an early age, and we grow up that way, maybe as time goes on, these health matters might begin to drop because we'll just be overall we'll just be healthier as a population.
That's right. And our cost will go down, actually, if we're a healthier community.
So mom, dad, kids, get out there and get active. Eat more fruits and vegetables as best you can. We know it's a busy time of year, and there's all kinds of parties and goodies, and I bet the doctor's office even has a peppermint stick or two hanging around.
We do. We've actually gone to, we're trying to do sugar-free suckers now after the kids get their shots.
They probably think, this is what I get now?
But they'll have to adjust. It's okay.
Sure. We can make it. It'll work. You got to make it work. We really don't have much choice. Because we got to do it best. On a personal note, you going to be around here for the holidays?
Yes.
You're going to go up
No,
north?
I got. I have my wife and my son and my stepson. So we're going to be around here, and so we're staying. We're not going back to New York. My parents will come up down from New York after the holidays, so I'll be staying around here.
Well, Doc, we appreciate you coming in again this month for another informative half hour of health-related issues, and we look forward to 2018 and continuing your visits and getting more information about how we can be healthier and know more about our healthcare system and how to live a healthier life.
Great. Well, I appreciate it, and thanks, everyone, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
On Call with Dr. Michael Ulich.